Hello everyone and welcome back once again. This is your civics teacher here, and this time I am here with a brand new chapter of NCERT grade 8, that is, why do we need a parliament? Students, as you all know that India is the world's largest democracy. Now students, can you answer me? What does this mean? Well, students, it means that the citizens of the country choose their own representatives who form the government, and these representatives form a legislative body that is known as parliament. And students, this legislative body means parliament enables citizens of India to participate in decision making and control the government. Therefore, parliament is the most important symbol of Indian democracy and key features of the constitution. So students, in this chapter we are going to learn and discuss the functions of a parliament and how it is connected to the idea of democracy and elections. And this chapter emphasizes on the need for a parliament in a country, and it also talks about the role of people in choosing their representatives in a democracy. So let's start. Now students, here is a question that why should people decide? Means why the decision of people matters in a democratic country. Students, as you all know that after long and difficult struggle in which many sections of society participated, India got freedom. So students, it is important for a democratic government to run by the consent, means agreement, approval and participation of the people or its citizens. And that's why the people in a democracy are the citizens, and they are an integral part of any democracy, and a democratic government cannot ignore its citizens, because a democracy is a type of government that is government of the people, by the people and for the people. So therefore the citizens are an integral part of any democracy. Thirdly, the people of a democratic government elected a few candidates who represent them on their behalf in the parliament. So students, that's why the decision of people matters in a democratic country. Now students, let's understand that what is the role of the parliament in a Indian democracy. Students, as I said earlier, that in a democratic country, citizens are an integral part of democracy, because the Indian Parliament is an expression of faith of all the citizens of India in principles of democracy. And students, the Parliament in the Indian system has immense power, as it is the representative of all the citizens of India, and the elections to the parliament are held in a similar way as that of in state legislature. Like in a state legislature, an MLA elected for a period of 5 years, in the same way the member of the Lok Sabha is elected once every 5 years through the electoral process. Now students, let's understand that what are the functions of a parliament. Students, India has numerous constituencies, and from each of these constituencies one member is elected for the parliament. And students, the candidate who contests election is usually belong to different political parties, and after the victory in elections, these candidates become the MPs, means members of parliament. And students, once elections to the parliament have taken place, the parliament needs to perform the following functions. As the first one is to select the national government. Students, do you know that the Parliament of India consists of the President, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha? Means to say, all the three comprises to form the Parliament of India. Students, as I said earlier that usually the MPs, means to say the member of parliament, belongs to different political parties. So after the elections for the Lok Sabha, a list is prepared that shows that how many MPs belong to each political party. Students, presently the Lok Sabha consists of 545 members, and out of 545 members, 530 members are directly elected from the states and 13 from union territories, while the remaining 2 are nominated by the president to represent the Anglo-Indian community. Means altogether there are 545 members in Lok Sabha. And students, do you know, for a political party to form the government, they must have a majority of elected MPs, and a majority party should have at least half the number or more. Means out of 545, a majority party must have 272 members in their favor. And students, the opposition in parliament is formed by all the political parties that oppose the majority party or gets the minimum seat in during elections. Means opposition party is a party that secures the second largest number of seats in the general elections in the upper or lower houses will be designated as the opposition party. Students, one of the most important functions of the Lok Sabha is to select the executive. Now the question is, what is executive? Students, executive is a group of persons who work together, implement the laws made by the parliament. And students, do you know, the Prime Minister of India is the leader of the ruling party in the Lok Sabha. Like presently, Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is the leader of the ruling party. But students, in certain cases, when no single party secure absolute majority in Lok Sabha, then students, in such a situation, 2 or more parties come together and form a government, and this type of government is called coalition government. Now students, as I said that the Indian Parliament is bicameral, means to say that in Indian Parliament there are 2 types of chambers, or you can say houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And the Lok Sabha is the lower house, whereas the Rajya Sabha is the upper house. And the Rajya Sabha primarily function as the representative of the states of India, and the main function of the Rajya Sabha is to review and altering the laws that was initiated by the Lok Sabha. The next important function of Rajya Sabha is that it can also initiate legislation. Means Rajya Sabha can also pass a bill in the house in order to form a new law. And students, a bill that was passed and approved earlier in the Lok Sabha required to pass through the Rajya Sabha in order to become a law. And students, the members of the Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by the citizen of the country. And do you know how? Because the members of the Rajya Sabha are elected by the members of the legislative assemblies of various states, and you already know that the member of the legislative assemblies are directly elected by us as our representative in the government. And students, do you know that Rajya Sabha currently has a maximum membership of 245 members, of which 233 elected by the members of the legislative assemblies, whereas the remaining 12 members are nominated by the President of India on various fields like in politics, in sports, etc. Now students, the second important function of the Parliament is to control, guide and inform the government. And students, the Parliament always begins with an questionnaire. And students, this questionnaire is an important mechanism of a democracy. And through this questionnaire mechanism, MPs, means to say the member of the Parliament, can elicit, means to say draw out information about the working of their government. And by asking questions, the government is altered or came to know its shortcomings. And in fact, the government also come to know the opinion of the people through their representative in the Parliament. And students, in all matters dealing with finances, the Parliament's approval is crucial or important for the government. Now students, the next important function of the Parliament is lawmaking. Students, this lawmaking is a significant function of Parliament. Means all legislative proposals have to brought in the form of bills before Parliament. And students, a bill is a statute, means to say a law in draft, and cannot become law unless it has received the approval of both the houses of Parliament and the assent of the President of India. Students, this lawmaking process is a very long procedure about which you will learn and discuss in your next chapter elaborately. Now students, here is a question that who are the people in the Parliament? Students, presently the Parliament of India has more and more people from different backgrounds. There has also been an increase in political participation from the Dalits and backward classes. And students, do you know why? Because in order to safeguard their interest or in order to protect them. So, in order to safeguard their interest, means to say the Dalits and the backward classes, there are especially reserved seats in parliaments for SCs, means to say scheduled caste, and STs, means scheduled tribes. And similarly, in the same way, there is a reservation of seats for women also in order to safeguard the interest of women in India. And students, that's how the Parliament of India comprises and work all together. Now students, with this topic here, your chapter number 3 is completed. Now I will be come back soon with another chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe and stay healthy.